ब्रेक तो बाद स्वागत है प्रोग्राम स्टेट टॉक विच गलबात जस्टिस जॉन मेजर साहब ਦੇ ਨਾਲ जो कि वन मैन कमीशन ऑफ इंक्वायरी सन 1985 ਦੇ ਕਨਿਸ਼ਕ ਵਿਮਾਨ ਹਾਦਸੇ 에ਅਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਫਲਾਈਟ 182 ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਵਾ ਦੇ ਉਡਾਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਆਇਰਿਸ਼ 에ਅਰ ਕੋਸਟ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਲਗਭਗ 329 ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੌਤ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬਹੁਤਾਤ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਨ 280 ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਇੰਡੋ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਸਨ ਇਸ ਤਰਾਸਦੀ ਤੇ 26 ਸਾਲ ਬੀਤਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਬਹੁਤ ਲਿਮਿਟਡ ਪੱਧਰ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਪਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੀੜਿਤ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇ ਮੁਆਵਜ਼ੇ ਦੇ ਪੱਖੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਡਿਸਕੰਟੈਂਟਮੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕਮੀਆਂ ਖਾਮੀਆਂ ਜਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੀ ਏਜੰਸੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਆਪਸੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਤਾਲਮੇਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਬੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ डिसकोऑर्डिनेशन सी मिसकम्यूनिकेशन सी उस लैवल ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਸਨ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹੇਆਮ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਆਊਟ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਸ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਆਫ ਇਨਕੁਆਇਰੀ ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਜਸਟਿਸ ਜੌਨ ਮੇਜਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਹੈਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਆਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜਸਟਿਸ ਜੌਨ ਮੇਜਰ ਯੂ ਹੈਵ given a lot of recommendations like you were saying that you had said that there should be a national security advisor. You also mentioned that there should be a director of terrorism prosecutions. That's a part of your report. You also go on to say that the Canadian Evidence Act should also be amended. And then there should be a national security witness protection coordinator. So all these things, the recommendations, they are about creating more institutions. So 26 years down the lane, starting from 1985, do you think that the system has not matured enough and a lot of things which have shaped up gradually? Maybe I was referring to 9/11. After 9/11, there was a kind of expectancy that the things would automatically change because Canada, which is quite close to US, it witnesses a catastrophic event, a terror act, and then things have got to change. And when the whole world is crying hoarse about the way the stringent checking measures at the airports, especially in US, have been enforced and people have been subject to humiliation when it comes to Sikhs, turban Sikhs. So the point remains that hasn't the system evolved itself that you had to give these recommendations and these institutions which you feel should be set up right now?
Well, some of them are just recommendations on improving what's there. Many of the recommendations could apply to every country, not only Canada. Immediately, and we'll move to the present, with the death of Osama bin Laden, there may be single cell terrorist reactions. And part of my recommendations is the laxity at most airports. You can walk into the waiting area of your airport, and if you're prepared to commit suicide bomb, you can kill 100 people. The fencing around airports, you could drive through it. I mean, I could go on as I did for a number, but to come back to the core question that you're asking, there has been an improvement in Canada. The proof of that lies in the number of homegrown terrorists that they've managed to uncover. I think that you're correct that 9/11 gave impetus. Everybody got a little more serious when they saw the tragedy, but the system depends so much on goodwill of the people in it, and it always will, but these suggestions I make are an attempt to have the system work even when there may not be goodwill between the two agencies. And remember, there's more than two agencies. There's Transport Canada, there's various insurance considerations, and every country has them. And every country should have that kind of communication.
You're traveling quite in depth about the aviation security aspect. You've been talking about the way how the agencies should be detecting the finances to the terrorist organizations. But when you're talking about the changes in the Canadian Evidences Act or maybe a National Security Witness Protection Coordinator, so we obviously are referring to this 1985 Kanishka bombing case in which vital witnesses were the key targets of the people, the very people who perpetrated those crimes. This includes Tara Singh here, the murder of this person. the way the agencies went about protecting its witnesses, or the way the seriousness of the issues was not being understood to a certain level. So I think a lot of things you feel are very relevant to the present day context as well. If you go from the reference point of 1985 till 1995, when the investigation was on.
Well, to deal first with the recommendations for changes to the criminal code, we have a very awkward system at the moment where you go first to the federal court and have someone declared a suspected terrorist under what they call Section 38. That court doesn't try him. That court identifies him. Then he moves to another court where he's tried. But before he moves to the other court, he can appeal from the Section 38 order and delay his criminal trial. And he can appeal it several different ways so that it takes 2 and 3 years before it gets from the federal court to the criminal court. And my recommendation was that one court, the criminal court, should make the determination on the certificate, hear the evidence, give a verdict, and there's only one appeal. That would save 3 or 4 years.